Friends, happy Wednesday. If you listened to the prior podcast episode on Monday, that was all about the eclipse in Aquarius that we had yesterday. And today we're focusing on something that's coming up just in 2 days on Friday, February 20th. And that is Saturn and Neptune coming together in the sign of Aries. This one is important for so many reasons. One being Saturn and Neptune only come together about every 36 years. So the last time this happened was in 1989 and 1990. They actually were together 3 different times during that time span of 1989 to 1990. They haven't been together in Aries since 1703. I am going to link in the show notes to an article that Chani Nicholas released earlier last week when you're listening to this. It's an excellent overview of what has happened historically over the past about 200 years, each time that Saturn and Neptune have come together. This is really important because when they come together, you have the planet of limits and discipline and the planet of blurred boundaries, of dreams, of ideals coming together, and we see technology advances as well as conflict. Those are themes that we see play out over and over again when these two come together. So this is something that I want you to know what we're going to talk about can feel a little bit scary because none of us like to talk about conflict, right? That's not something we enjoy talking about. It's not something that we are necessarily well equipped in our society to handle. And it is a part of life. So I want to kind of set that stage that we are going to be talking about somewhat harder topics, more challenging topics in today's episode. I am not coming at this from a place of wanting to instill fear. If fear does come up, I want you to allow it. I want you to explore it. I want you to pay attention to what are the ways that your fears are trying to keep you safe? What are they trying to warn you about? What is it triggering something from your past? Is it, there's so many things that fear can bring up with us. And so I don't want you to ignore any of those feelings that come up because they're feelings that we're going to have to face. They're feelings that we're going to have to make space for over the coming months and years. So link in the show notes to an article by Chani that goes through kind of historically over the past several hundred years, what has happened when Saturn and Neptune have come together in a sign. The TLDR version of this, too long didn't read, big shifts happen. Big things happen. So let's talk about the energies of each of the planets and the sign at play. So Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It's a leader, it's an initiator, and it's a fighter. It's a fire sign. It's the spark that ignites a fire. It can be igniting a wildfire. It can be igniting a campfire. But either way, it's that spark that gets the fire going. In Greek mythology, Aries is the god of war. And war and combat are really the shadow sides of Aries energy that we sometimes do see play out when these planets come together. Again, I am not sharing this because I want to instill fear in you. I want to be realistic about what energies are at play. All of our energies have shadow sides. They have gifts. One of the gifts of Aries and being, having that kind of combative side is Aries is brave. Aries is bold. It takes action. So that's an energy that we're also going to see at play is kind of this like brave, bold courage action as well. And I hope that if you're feeling fear, that as you make room for that, you also think about your own bravery and your own boldness and your own courage. Saturn is our planet of structure, of limits, of constraints. It is physical structure, it is societal and governing structures. And Saturn moved into Aries on Friday, February 13th, and it's going to be there until April of 2028. So Saturn is only in Aries for a few years. Neptune moved into Aries at the end of January. So it's already been in the sign for a few more days than Saturn has been. But Neptune represents things like our ideals, our dreams. It highlights our desire to go beyond our limitations. Neptune can bring some kind of confusing energy because it likes to blur the boundaries. It likes to blur the lines between what's real and what's not. Whereas Saturn is like, nope, we're ultra real, we're ultra practical, we're ultra structured. So that's where you see these things, as they come together. These aren't energies that we're always very comfortable bringing together. Neptune is going to be in Aries for about 14 years, so until March of 2039. This Neptune defines generations. It has been in Pisces. Saturn has been in Pisces for the last couple of years. They are both now in Aries. So we're moving from watery, emotive, intuitive energy into bold, action taking, sometimes conflict driven, but initiating Aries fire energy. Together, Neptune and Saturn stretch the boundaries of what we once thought possible. So when these two came together in 1989, that's when the World Wide Web was created. This is not small change energy. This is massive change energy. This is new technology, leaps, just things that we couldn't have previously imagined becoming real, right? Going Neptune beyond the bounds of what we can imagine, Saturn bringing it into reality. That's how they play together. We're seeing, they've been kind of dancing around each other for about the last year now. These two energies have been, and we're already seeing all kinds of questions about what's real, what's not real, what's created by AI, what's created by humans. How do these things interplay? Right now, I kind of keep an eye on what kind of conferences are coming out. And one of the main topics that we see over and over again right now is the human and AI interaction. And as these two come together and then we move forward from this place, stuff that we've never imagined is going to come into our reality. That is the kind of energy we're talking about. And this is happening at 0 degrees of Aries, the beginning of beginnings. Aries, the beginning of the zodiac, 0 degrees, the beginning of not only the sign, but the entire cycle. So 0 degrees, anytime I see 0 degrees on a chart, I know it's important because it highlights infinite possibilities. It highlights just, again, going beyond what we can imagine and what we can dream up. So let's talk about what this means for us. One thing it means, and again, I'm not saying this from a place of trying to drive fear, but from a place of we have to be realistic about the energy at play. The future is unknown. It just is. 0 degrees of Aries is a whole new cycle, new way of being. It's a reset button. It can mean chaos and conflict. It can also mean imagination running wild, magic abounds. Life as we know it has infinite possibilities to unfold in any manner of ways. We are very much at a reset point, and we get to decide what the future looks like. We can use Neptune's dreamy qualities to imagine more than what we ever thought possible, and simultaneously use Saturn's determination to commit to the work that's required to make those dreams a reality. This is very much what we as individuals and we as a communal global whole are being asked to do. These are the overarching energies of the year. The year that we're heading into, that we just began yesterday with the Lunar New Year, is a fire year. I have said this in previous episodes, but we really have to be thinking about this idea of purification, of fire being a purifying source. And there are a lot of different sacred texts as well as just, kind of practical anecdotes that talk about when you put something in the fire, whatever's not pure gold, really, whatever's not a pure element is going to get burned away. And I want you to think about that of your life, that this is, again, not to cause fear, but there are things that are going to get burned away from our lives this year. I don't know what those are going to be. It is scary because most of us don't like change. And when we don't know what's going to change, it's even scarier. But what we know is we have one, our true self. That is pure gold. The core of who you are, that is your pure gold. What's going to get burned away from that is there to help bring out the purity of your trueness, your values, your motivation, your passion, your joy. All of this, if you allow it to, can come to the forefront. But we have to know what that is. Right? This is what I've been talking about so far over and over again this year is we have to know who we are, what our values are, who we are, and move from that place. I don't think this is going to be a peaceful year for us collectively, not only because of what we see in the astrology, but it's already not been a peaceful year, right? Like I'm just stating facts. This has not been a peaceful year. It didn't start that way. I don't think that we're going to see peace or ease as an overarching theme of the year. Part of that is because the status quo, the systems that have been are being destroyed. And some of that is really painful. There is Chani Nicholas in her weekly reading for this week talks about needing to allow ourselves to grieve some of these changes because they are hard. And this is where my sun sign is in Aquarius. And so part of my purpose is being able to see and cast a vision for the future. So I do that not from a place of overlooking what has recently transpired or what is currently transpired, but so that we can root into, yes, we can grieve. Yes, there can be fear. Yes, this can be painful. And let's also look at the future. Let's also look at what's to come. When we know who we are at our core, and then we find the ability to step into our communities and serve our communities from that core, from our true self, that is how we intentionally build the future that we're visioning. And the gift side of Neptune and Saturn is, again, that just being able to go well beyond our wildest imagination and then commit to bringing that into reality. That's the gift side of these two signs. Even as I was putting this together, I've known that all this energy was coming, but as I was putting together the podcast for this week, this was when I decided to split it up into two. I saw, wow, this is really such an incredible storyline because you have Neptune going into Aries, Saturn going into Aries. This is something that, Neptune, we are only going to see this once in our lifetime, I think, if I'm mathing that right. Saturn, we might see it a couple times, depending on where it was when we were born. But we don't see these planets very often in Aries. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's already a little bit of like, anytime you have planets going into a new sign, there's changes that come up because of that. Now they're doing this together. So we know this is going to be its own kind of shakeup energy because we're going to see some kind of advance in technology. We're going to see some kind of conflict, and we're going to see some kind of change to our structures. That's the pattern when Saturn and Neptune come together in any sign. And then right in the middle of this is this Aquarius eclipse at the last degrees of Aquarius going, who are you becoming? Because the answer to that question of who you are becoming matters in the midst of this moment of Saturn and Neptune coming together at 0 degrees of Aries, starting a whole new cycle. We can't fully separate these things. I did that in the podcast episodes just because I really do try to keep these under 30 minutes. But this is so intricately woven together. This idea that who we are becoming individually matters, because now as we go forward into whatever the future is going to be, whatever massive leaps and bounds in technology we see, whatever conflict we see, we have to step into that as the person that we are becoming. And that person is our true self. That person is, we are allowing the things that are not us to burn away, whether that was the shedding of the layers last year with the year of the snake, whether that's it's being burned away and purified this year with fire, whatever that is. Who we are becoming matters now more than it ever has before. So this whole thing of Saturn and Neptune and Aries, it is communal, it is global, it is generational, and who we are as individuals makes all the difference in the world for what happens next. We are in a moment of massive endings. Our many government structures are disintegrating. We have people in power trying to hold on desperately to old ways of being, old ways of power. We have our communities are standing up and saying, no, we are not interested in that form of power being played out, harming us, harming our neighbors, harming those around us. There's just movements of people who are not okay with what's happening. And we as individuals have to be able to find where we fit within all of that so that we can intentionally work toward the future that we want. Without that, what are we doing? And I really firmly believe that those in my circles, those who listen to this podcast, those who are emailing me, the women who I work with, we have all spent the last few years waking up to our true self. We have been transformed. This image that I talked about on Monday of the butterfly emerging from the chrysalis. This is not a fragile being who is coming. This is a person who is going to walk through the fires of the year to come and come out on the other side purified, emboldened, strengthened, knowing without a shadow of a doubt who she is and what she wants in life, and being willing to grasp that Aries power of boldness and courage, the powers of Saturn is a really powerful planet, right? Being willing to build structures that matter. Those are the powers that we're walking into, the power of Neptune, of dreaming bigger than we ever thought possible. There is a gift side to this energy that, yes, we can recognize the shadows. Yes, we can recognize how damaging some of this can be. And we can look at the gift side of these energies, which is visioning a new future, which is committing to and working toward a new future. And it's going to happen as we embrace our true selves and as we bring that true self into our community. It's not going to happen by going back to old ways of being. We can't, right? Whether it's the butterfly emerging from the chrysalis who will never be a caterpillar again, the eclipse, that was the energy of the eclipse, or this 0 degrees of Aries energy of we are starting something new. We are. And we get to be part of that. It's not easy. It's not going to be an easy year. But we do have some really cool energies at our side as we go into this year. I mentioned the Sabian symbols in the last episode, and we're going to look at the Sabian symbol for 1 degree of Aries. It's actually the same for 0 and 1 degree of Aries. It is a woman rising out of the ocean and a seal embracing her. It's representative of this emergence into something new. The ocean, Pisces. Aries and Pisces are connected. Pisces is the end of the zodiac, Aries is the beginning, but it is a cycle. And so this connection to the ocean makes so much sense to me. And then this stepping out into something new with Aries makes so much sense as well. I'm just really honestly blown away by the meshing and melding of these energies, because when we talk about beginning a new cycle, we're not doing that in a linear way. We're not beginning with a blank slate. We're beginning a new cycle with everything that has come before it. We have learned, we have evolved, we have grown, we have awakened. And now we begin again. That's what this is. We are beginning again. I think this is something we'll end up talking about over and over again. It's something that is going to be a theme at play, with Saturn in Aries for the next 2 years, a little over 2 years. It's this whole year is a fire year, so we're going to be talking about that. But I want you to know the reality of the fact that life is changing. It just is. I don't want that to be scary. If it does feel scary, I want you to embrace that, to allow yourself to feel that fear, to see what that is bringing up for you. And I want you to move from the fear to the hope. I think that these are so intricately connected, because both of them are speaking to something that isn't happening in the moment, right? We fear something that could happen that we don't want to happen. We hope for something that could happen that we do want to happen. Neither of them are real in the moment. And so as you think about and allow yourself to feel fear, recognize that that's not happening. Or potentially you are afraid because there are hard things happening right now. And that's a reality as well. And we are going to go into tomorrow. As long as we're breathing, we are going into tomorrow. And having that hope for tomorrow is what is going to bring eventually the change that we want. This week is monumental. We're going to be looking back on this week energetically. I don't know what's going to happen in the physical realm this week. I'm recording this in advance. There's probably going to be stuff going on that we will look back on and go, wow, that was a turning point moment. Even if we don't know exactly what that is yet, the energy is changing really, really drastically in the coming months. And while we have this jolt, I think, happening this week, next week we have Mercury retrograde. And that is going to be a time to go, okay, slow down, right? As we're being pushed forward, we're going to be asked to slow down. I do think that this is a little bit of a roller coaster a few weeks ahead. Again, like I said on Monday, this is going to be a time to drink a lot of water, to rest a lot, to take things out of your calendar if you need to. This is not the time for trying to take sustained action. You might be taking action this week, and I think that's probably, there's a lot of good for that. But this is more of a sprint week than a marathon week in terms of the way that we expend energy, because with Mercury retrograde coming next week, we're going to want to slow down and kind of review whatever comes up this week over the next, maybe 7 to 10 days. Then we're going to go into Mercury retrograde and have a few weeks to go, okay, let's root back in. Let's root back within ourselves. As always, if you want to talk about this, if you've got a quick question, you can email me, hello@mostforyou.com. If you want to look at what this means in your chart schedule a reading. You can do a quick reading where we just look at one aspect. That would be you can schedule the mini reading that I think I have advertised as like it's the sun, moon, and rising reading. It's about 20 minutes. But if you schedule that and you put in the notes, I really want to talk about this Saturn Neptune conjunction in my chart, we'll look at that instead. Those readings are for you to get what you need out of our time together. If you want to look at something more deep, that would be one of the longer readings. If you're not sure, just email me. We'll talk about that. But sometimes it really does help to be able to talk through this and what it means for you personally with somebody else. And I would be honored if that someone happens to be me. This is a time of, as the Sabian symbol shows us, stepping out of the waters. We've been in the waters of Pisces with Saturn and Neptune there. We're stepping not only onto land, but now onto some pretty hot sand with Aries energy. And things are shifting. Give yourself grace as you navigate the changes that are coming for all of us. Give those around you grace as they navigate these changes. I'm sending you all so much love, so many blessings for the end of the week, and I look forward to our next conversation together.